Hey Paul, let's talk about today's adventure. Now, I've been swamped with work and you know that, but I could feel the depression and the lack of adventure starting to get me down. So for this adventure, I couldn't do an overnight, I'm just too busy, but I wanted to at least go on a hike. So I made sure that I got up super early, well before the sunrise, packed up my gear, and made my way to go and do this hike. Now, the start of the day looked really promising, especially with all the colors I was seeing in the sky. Needless to say, I was excited. And I can't remember the last time that I just did a hike. And honestly, I'm pretty excited for it. I don't know what to expect entirely, but it's just going to be nice to get out and away from everything. So here we are, we're kicking off this adventure. It's a beautiful sunrise. We're just cruising along. It's about a 40-minute drive, so not terribly far. And it starts to get a little bit overcast, which I'm not super mad about because I haven't hiked for a while. And honestly, we're going to be hiking through a jungle, so I'm not 100% sure if that's even a bad thing that we're not getting much sun. I mean, it would be kind of nice to have sunlight shining through the trees, but whatever. Now, one of the things I really wanted to do with this hike is just be super observant of everything around me, taking in the plant life, the sounds, the animals, and just making sure that I enjoyed the experience and didn't let the pressure of making a video from this overwhelm me. So as I continue on to the trail, I can't help but notice some flowering plants along the trail side, as well as what looks like some blueberries. Now, I wasn't going to confirm and test that they were blueberries, but it looks like some other animals tried to eat them and weren't able to digest them properly. Now, at the mile marker, we start to exit the forest, and it kind of turns into this clearing. And it's really interesting to come out to this clearing and see the man-made structures and power lines going off into the distance. This trail is really interesting in the fact that you see these man-made structures like the docks that you walk across to get over the water and the marsh, and there's this like water treatment plant and road leading up to it, and you just see this constant fight with nature. It's just really interesting to see this almost like losing battle where nature is overrunning the man-made structures, and I just really love that. So as we continue on, I enjoy the landscape change before we transition into more swamp and forest. Now, this trail goes along the St. Johns River, and the trail actually collapsed a little bit into the river, so they built this dock that goes around the collapsed part. It's really nice being out over the water. You can see people passing by on the St. Johns River with watercrafts like jet skis and boats, and it looks like they're having fun, but it sometimes takes you out of nature. But I still love the fact that I get to hike along the longest river in Florida for a few miles. Now, along the water's edge, you'll see various plants growing, like these flowers that I saw. You might see some manatees feeding on the seagrass, see little birds chirping around. And then probably the most disturbing thing to see was this giant spider in the middle of the trail that freaked me out. I put my hand up for comparison, but I don't think it really does it justice. The spider is massive, and I think that's probably one of the more unappealing parts of hiking through a jungle.
Book that. That's a Big 10 nope for me. So just had lunch. It feels pretty good. I've gone 3 miles and this whole loop is about 7. But all that's left on the trail is we kind of leave the river side and we go into the woods more. And then from there, there's like a backcountry campsite about a half mile or a mile away. But I'm gonna double back, mostly because there's nothing super interesting. I don't like that portion of the hike. I'd rather hike along the river, see if we can see some manatees popping their heads out and stuff. I've actually been kind of disappointed in the wildlife, in the fact that we haven't really seen any. I did see like droppings on the trail and on the bridge, and it's pretty funny because those droppings are either a boar or a bear, which makes it super important for me to be going, "Hey bear," and clapping my hands before I cross that bridge and as I go across, which I need to do just because of the fact that it would be really bad to run into a bear or a boar on the bridge and they're too afraid to double back or something like that. Whereas if it's on the trail, I could step to the side and they'll walk by usually. Paul, I believe you are leaving to make your video. I'm very excited to see it. I'm glad you're going out to do it because I have these beautiful jungles here in Florida, but I don't have a high desert like Joshua Tree that I would love to see again, and I'm starving for that content. So I will conclude this little adventure. Remember our credo: explore, travel, capture. I'll see you in the next video.